welcome to the presentation. Again, my name is Brian Kearney. I'm a Business Development Manager with the Entrust Group, and I'm responsible for the Eastern Time Zone for the firm based in the Boston, Massachusetts area. And today's presentation is going to be discussing some important planning tips for the end of the year as we get towards the close of 2013 and the holiday season. It's important to really begin to consider where you stand with your retirement plan contributions, and we wanted to address a few important things to focus on as you come towards the end of the year here. So just in starting out, I'll begin, as we do all of our presentations, by stating that the Entrust Group does not provide investment advice or endorse any particular products. All information in this presentation and materials are intended for educational purposes only. All parties are encouraged to consult with their attorneys, accountants, financial advisors before entering into any type of investment. Today's agenda is pretty focused. We're going to discuss the current state of the retirement industry. 3 steps, as the presentation laid out, to focus on towards the end of the year here, is to educate yourself, to set goals, and to properly diversify your investment portfolio to really achieve success in retirement. I'm going to close things up by summarizing what we discussed, talk about how to get started in establishing an account or moving forward, and then open things up to a Q&A, as I mentioned. Current state of the retirement industry. There's been a lot in the news lately about what's going on, the current state of retirement in the U.S., and frankly, there's some pretty scary statistics. Not too long ago, most people planned on retiring at age 65, and you have a pension to rely on, and you can count on that income for the rest of your life. And clearly that's no longer the case. The expected retirement age is no longer 65. In fact, if you ask the average person, a lot of people will tell you that they probably don't plan on ever retiring. They just simply can't afford it, which obviously is pretty scary in and of itself. The average American working households have only saved $3,000 towards retirement, which is astonishing. And clearly that's not going to get people very far without a paycheck. And nearly 50% of U.S. workers are not confident that they'll be able to retire comfortably. And I would say if people really were honest with themselves, it would be a much higher percentage. So today we want to address a few things that will help get people moving in the right direction. What does all this mean? People really, first and foremost, need to start planning and take action as soon as possible. Planning for retirement can be a pretty daunting task for a lot of people, and even though you may recognize the need, people don't know where to begin. So we've laid out a few fundamental steps. First step, educate yourself. There's really a vast array of investment options out there, and it's truly important to have a good understanding of what can and can't be done, specifically within the confines of an IRA. I think you'll find that the Entrust Group really opens up a lot of possibilities most people didn't even know existed for IRA investments that traditionally incorporated stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and that sort of thing. But with the Entrust Group, a lot of our most popular investments are things like real estate or promissory notes, people investing in non-public companies or private businesses, investing in precious metals. Those are some of our more popular investments. As far as what is not permitted, it's frankly a pretty short list that's outlined by the IRS. And that includes collectibles and life insurance, and also investments in S corporations. So those are a few things that can't be done, and certainly we can speak further if you've got follow-up questions on that. But while you're educating yourself, it really is important to understand some of the resources that are available to you out there. And a lot of these are, frankly, on the web, on the internet. variety of resources that can be used. IRAS.gov, SEC.gov, mymoney.gov are all clearly government websites that are intended to help educate people further. But as you've all found through our own website, the entrustgroup.com, our Learning Center tab has a great variety of resources, articles, webinars, obviously live like we're doing now, but also archived. A great deal of courses, reports, all sorts of things that I think really should help provide some further education and discuss a variety of the investments that I mentioned earlier in more depth. But also it's important to speak with a professional. CPAs, CFPs, attorneys, all these people are probably folks you're already paying for their advice, so why not use it? These are professionals that really can help you get started and moving in the right direction. Now, in starting the retirement planning process, it's important to have a baseline and understand some money that you might already have in place for retirement. So take advantage of some tools and online calculators at SSA.gov, which is the Social Security Administration website. You can log on, create an account, and find out what you may be entitled to or might be expecting in terms of a Social Security benefit upon retirement. The AARP retirement calculator, Are You Saving Enough?, is at aarp.org. Really a great tool available there. And finally in this list, bankrate.com has a variety of tools, calculators, educational pieces that are available. So understanding some of the resources that are out there is really critical. And as you look at these various tools and calculators, I think you'll figure out pretty quickly that you need to have a goal and need to figure out what the destination is in retirement. And in doing so, we need to be realistic. How much will you actually need to maintain your lifestyle, your current lifestyle during retirement years? Consider how much you earn, how much you save, and really how much you can save to further that goal. And a good rule of thumb in trying to calculate what this number might be is looking at 8 times your ending salary to try to boost the odds that you'll have enough money for 25 years of retirement. As we all know, life expectancies have increased dramatically over recent years, and I think living 25 years or more in retirement is a very real possibility for a lot of folks. You want to develop a personalized plan and consider things like health care. Clearly insurance is a big hot topic right now with what's going on in Washington, and factoring in the cost of insurance and really what that's going to be in future years is going to be very important. Do you need long-term care insurance or things that will be needed for assisted living going forward? Consider your living situation, what state, even country you're going to be in. There are a lot of clients I've had that have invested in, or I should say plan on retiring in foreign countries because the cost of living is significantly less. So it can be something to consider. But also kind of the fun part of retirement planning, activities, travel, education. How do you plan on spending your time? And what sort of resources will that require to get you to that goal? So once you further educated yourself, set some goals, it's really time to start looking at investment strategy. And any financial advisor will tell you a critical thing to achieving your goals from an investment standpoint is proper diversification. And up until recently, a lot of people just thought that stocks and bonds were really the only assets that you could hold in retirement plan accounts. And as I stated earlier, that's simply not the case. The IRS allows for a broad array of investments through IRAs and retirement accounts. A lot of opportunities to invest in things you know and understand. And really diversifying allows you to have a lot of backup options in case one particular asset class or one particular investment that you make doesn't work out. Now, also in considering diversification, it's important to understand the different types of retirement accounts that are out there. Traditional IRA and Roth IRA are really the primary two types of IRAs. And traditional IRA, of course, grows tax-deferred and is taxed upon distributions. And Roth IRAs grow completely tax-free. So a summary of some of the things that we've discussed here in terms of steps to planning as we get towards year end and really looking forward in retirement planning. Current state of retirement in America is unfortunate and really a growing problem, but can be improved if people start to plan and take action now. Education is critical, setting realistic goals and diversifying your portfolio. And again, the sooner the better when you look at the power of compounding interest rates over time. So getting started, if you decide to move forward in establishing an IRA with the Entrust Group, it's really a pretty simple process. I break things down into 3 steps. First, of course, is establishing an IRA with us, which is generally a pretty quick process. Fill out a couple forms, and we can have an account established for you very quickly, generally within a day or 2. Of course, second step, funding that IRA can either be via an annual contribution, doing a rollover from a previous employer retirement plan, 401k or 403b, for example, or simply transferring funds from an IRA you may have elsewhere. And begin investing what you know and understand. You have a discussion with an Entrust representative about what your intended investment is, and we'll help guide you in terms of what the process is to accomplish that investment. So at this point, just want to take a brief moment to talk to you about the Entrust My Direction Visa prepaid card. This is something we've actually teamed up with Citigroup and developed an innovative way to make the investment process quicker and easier. The My Direction Visa prepaid card is actually a stored value card, so it gives you access to use your IRA money for investments via a debit card, basically. So it's not only for use with your IRA that can be held at Entrust, but also we offer education savings accounts and health savings accounts. One stipulation, the card has to be opened with a minimum balance of $100, and it has a maximum stored value of $25,000, and we can adjust to larger limits if requested. So you might be wondering, what can this actually be used for? How do you use a card to make investments? Well, it can be used in a variety of ways. Of course, purchase an asset for your IRA, education savings account, or health savings account. Pay expenses on behalf of any of those accounts. For example, if you own a piece of real estate and need to pay a contractor, hire a plumber, fix a roof, pay the tax bill, any of those things. Anywhere a card is accepted, you can use this and eliminate a lot of the the paperwork that ordinarily would be required. Use the card, make the investment, and then provide us with supporting material. Things like tax liens, promissory notes, peer lending, real estate are all, again, popular investments that our clients are making, and this is a means to do so in a more efficient manner. Some benefits, value, it's just a one-time startup fee and a minimum monthly fee of only a few dollars, so saves on check writing and some additional expenses that may otherwise be incurred. Versatility, card may be used for, as I mentioned, a variety of plan types, and is supported by Citibank. We've got 24/7, 365-day-a-year access to live agents, email, website, and a variety of ways to contact for support. But critical thing is that it's a simple portal that allows for your transactions to be certified and really should make the process quite a bit easier for making investments through the account. So with that, I'd like to open things up for a Q&A. I see a few questions have already filtered in, so I'm going to go through those as time permits here. And again, if you do have questions, feel free to type things in, and I will address as many as possible here. Okay, first question is actually regarding the My Direction card. Can it be issued in other people's names, for example, the name of a property manager? No, the card is actually intended for the IRA holder themselves for their use, because it is giving access directly to money in your IRA. It is issued in the name of the account owner. Get a question about real estate here. Is it true that real estate held in a self-directed IRA or 401k does not enjoy the traditional tax benefits of rental property, such as costs for improvements, taxes, etc.? Unfortunately, I'm going to have to refer that question to your tax advisor, to your CPA. In our position as an IRA administrator, we can't give tax advice on your account, but certainly the benefit of owning a piece of real estate in an IRA in a tax-deferred account is significant. But as far as deductions and so forth, I would refer you to your CPA. Somebody asked if they could receive a copy of this presentation. We're actually recording and archiving this webinar, so it will be available on our website probably within 24 to 48 hours, and we'll send out notification regarding that once it's available. But in the meantime, please feel free to call with any questions or follow-up clarification that's needed. Got a question here about self-directed IRAs. Kind of taking a big step back, and maybe I should have identified this at the beginning of the webinar. What is a self-directed IRA? And it's a great question. Self-directed IRA is really still taking the form of any other type of IRA, traditional, Roth, simple IRA. But basically, self-direction is an industry term that denotes giving the account owner the ability to invest in alternative assets, things you can't buy at a traditional broker-dealer, mutual fund provider, and some of the more, traditional retirement plan providers you may be familiar with. Typically limit investments to stocks, bonds, mutual funds, publicly traded securities. However, self-directed IRA really expands that dramatically. It allows you to invest, as I've mentioned, in things like real estate or promissory notes, precious metals, really anything that is not specifically disallowed by the IRS. And again, that's a short list, some things that I've mentioned: collectibles, life insurance, and S corporations. Aside from that, as long as you're not violating rules with doing business with disqualified persons, then really it's a pretty open investment capability that you have. Another question here on the My Direction card. How does the IRS know that the funds were used for appropriate reasons? Fantastic question. And I only briefly touched on it, but we actually have an online portal that you would use to certify any transactions that are made using the card. So when you're issued the card, you'll be given instructions to this website, and every time there's a purchase, you want to log onto the website within 30 days to actually verify that this is an allowed transaction, and basically certifying that what you've done. Question, is there an advantage of a self-directed IRA over a self-directed 401k? No, I guess. We do offer individual self-directed 401ks. So if you're self-employed, that's an option as a type of plan that we could administer for you. But aside from that, investing in a 401k in a self-directed manner generally isn't allowed. Most employers have a pre-selected list of mutual funds to choose from, and aside from that, I guess there's self-direction amongst those mutual funds, but aside from that, you really don't have any options as far as investing in things that I mentioned like real estate or promissory notes or precious metals. Generally not allowed until you actually separate service and roll that money over into an IRA where the investment universe expands quite a bit. I got a question on a specific company that's mentioned opening self-directed IRAs with us, and it's a question I'd probably rather address with that individual who asked that question on doing some further due diligence on the investment itself. Someone asked for some clarification on the My Direction card itself. The source of the funds would actually be money coming from your IRA, undirected cash that you've got in your account with us that would be loaded onto the card, so to speak, and available for investment or bill payment and some of the other things that I mentioned. Got a question about the stat that I had quoted, and if you saw the footnote on the slide, there was actually a stat that we borrowed from Fidelity in a report that they did, mentioning that a good target for retirement is 8 times your final income, and individuals asking if they're making $100,000 a year, would they need $800,000 in retirement? That's basically what that stat's saying for 25 years in retirement. Approximately 8 times that final income is a good rule of thumb or a target. I would say most people are shooting for a higher number than that, but it's good to have some sort of a sense of what might be needed to last that 25 years, and that is that's how the numbers work out. So 8 times that ending salary. Okay. Got a question about real estate and if it can be done directly or if it needs to be through an LLC. Both are options. Really, there's 2 ways to purchase real estate from an IRA. It can either be a direct purchase, in which case the name on the deed is actually the name, title of your IRA. In our case, it would be the Entrust Group, Inc., for benefit of John Smith, account number 12345, for example. And in that situation, you would work with our real estate department through the purchase and sale and the closing process. So that's absolutely one way to do so, is a direct purchase. But the LLC is an option as well. And a lot of folks will go that route because it gives a bit more control, so to speak, and puts them in the driver's seat through the purchase and sale, and again the closing process, and directing payments to contractors, paying bills and that sort of thing. So it's often referred to in the industry as a checkbook IRA, and really that name comes through establishing the LLC and establishing a bank account for that LLC that gives you that quote-unquote checkbook control. Question about investing in real estate and having children manage the property. Children would be considered a disqualified person from doing business with your IRA. So in addition, basically any lineal family members parents, grandparents, children, grandchildren, their respective spouses are all considered disqualified persons. So you certainly want to have your children acting in a paid capacity for managing property. I suppose they could help in some capacity, but it's generally not recommended, and certainly cannot give them any compensation for that. When you do want to have a property manager, it's generally recommended to have a third unrelated party do so. Question on Roth IRAs and self-direction. At age 70 and a half, can the rent and or sale of real estate be tax-free? Yes, and really the 70 and a half doesn't factor in with a Roth. 59 and a half is the number to consider there in terms of when you're eligible to start taking distributions from an IRA, is age 59 and a half. And in the case of a Roth, those distributions can be taken tax-free, regardless of the underlying type of investment. Give it another minute or so and see if any other questions filter in. I think I've tried to address the majority of them. There are a few that I did not directly address, and I would ask those individuals to just contact me offline because they were very specific to their particular situation or underlying investments that I'd rather not address to the entire group. That might be a good place for me to share my contact information with everybody. Please feel free to get in touch with me after the call if you have follow-up questions or want to discuss your particular situation. I can be reached at my office phone, which is 781-569-5074. There's an extra digit in there. So again, 781-569-5074. Please disregard that 6 in there. Also email bkearney, Kearney, at theentrustgroup.com is also certainly a good way to reach me. And as I'd mentioned, this webinar is going to be archived and will be available on our site, I believe starting tomorrow or the following day. So appreciate everyone's time today. I hope you found it useful and were able to gather some additional information and really start the process or continue the process of retirement planning. Clearly it's critical and not enough people are taking this seriously. So appreciate that all of you are and for taking the time here, and look forward to speaking with you all individually. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Please stand by.